Oh my God. Let me show you what I got. This beat is so hot. Oh my God.
Is that bullshit?
I think not.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Candy Shop Fantasy Football Podcast, a part of the Fantasy Six-Pack Audio Network. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens, and here with me, as they are every Friday night during the regular season, are the Candy themselves, the Mike and Ikes, Mike Bonney, I messed that up, Michael Plant and Ike Bonney. Fellas, what's going on?
Hey. Not too much. Just, satisfied that Garrett Wilson finally got a touchdown.
That was very nice, man. But it wouldn't be a Candy Shop Fantasy Football Podcast without me messing up the intro, so you got to love that.
No, you wouldn't be you if you didn't mess something up.
Facts, man. How are we feeling after that Thursday night game? I know you alluded to it already. How about the Ramondre Stevenson owner up to my right here on the screen? How are you feeling after the nice goose egg he provided you last night?
Not great. I'm glad Brees at least scored.
Yeah, but how's it feel to get running back by committed with Braylon Allen? I mean, I'd have to look it up again, but
Brees Hall is still scoring and catching, getting the high or the most important work.
It was a short week too, so I feel like they wanted to work him in a little bit more.
Braylon Allen 14 touches to Brees Hall's 20 touches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brees is gonna get 20 at least every week.
I know. It's a little nerve-wracking knowing that they got, a talent like Allen there because your ceiling's not limited.
Not really. I'm not worried at all.
You still think Brees Hall can pull off with CMC out, you think he can pull off an RB1 finish with Braylon Allen breathing down his neck?
He's
youngest.
He's not breathing down his neck. He's maybe like creeping up towards him. He's got him in a sniper scope maybe, but no, he's not breathing down his neck.
I really think it was
touchdown.
I really think it was because they was on the short week and they wanted to split a little bit more of the carries.
Braylon Allen is good though. He is good.
Yeah, he does look solid. My biggest takeaway from that game was the fact that Aaron Rodgers could move, man.
Yeah.
That he's not a statue behind the pocket. Like he had to move around, extend plays, make plays with his feet.
He even tried baiting for roughing the on the sideline.
Yeah, no, that was good to see from him, man. He looked healthy, so definitely ideal if you're an Aaron Rodgers owner or heck, even just somebody from the Jets.
Talking to you super flex players because no one owns Aaron Rodgers in single QB leagues.
Right. Before we jump into the show, guys, I want to remind everyone, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Then head on over to fantasysixpack.net/plans to become an all-access member. That's where you get access to our award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets. We got fantasy basketball, fantasy hockey right around the corner, everybody. You get access to our F6P Discord. There is some free channels in there, but if you want to get access to our DFS channels, our betting channels, all that other extra stuff is you got to pay a little bit of fee. But guys, trust me, it's worth it. You get access to everybody on the Fantasy Six-Pack staff for just $9.99 a month, and it is worth it. You should make your money back here pretty quick with our DFS guys, Chris Robin, Keith Fleming, Dave Eddy, and then just everyone in the Discord, man. It's a good time. And once again, that's fantasysixpack.net/plans. Go ahead and check it out. But without further ado, let's jump into our game previews. If anyone is new here, how we do things around here is we do our sweet and sour picks. Our guys are going to get a sweet player is someone who can absolutely smash this week, win you your week, and sour is, a bust play, someone who could get you under 10 points, 5 to 7, something not ideal.
And it's someone you probably have no choice but to start with all the injuries that we're enduring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're starting to pile up, and we're only in week 3, so it's going to get even tougher.
I start next week, I believe, so that doesn't help.
Right. I think we're still a couple weeks away from that, but
I thought it was 4, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it could be 5.
Yeah, it's 5 or 6. But jumping in the Sunday games, guys, we got the New York Giants taking on the Cleveland Browns. Giants getting 6.5 points on the road. Low game total here too at 38.5 here. Michael Plant, we're going to start with you. who is your sweet play this week out of the Giants-Cleveland matchup here?
So my sweet play is kind of a disgusting play. So it's going to be like legit a Sour Patch Kid. It's going to be sweet, maybe a little sour, probably more sour, but I'm calling it now because it's an anomaly that Amari Cooper is going through what he's going through right now. He's the only wide receiver on the team with 90+% of the snaps played. So he's the number one guy out there. He's tied with CeeDee Lamb in targets through 2 games. Right, so he's on the same elite, target rate as CeeDee Lamb. It's just the QB quality is not very good here. We're looking at a 29.4% catch rate, and I looked at it as far as the top 15 receivers through that have the most targets through 2 weeks. He is the only receiver under 50% catch rate. So it's going to revert back to the mean here. He just can't continue to have this terrible of efficiency.
Yeah, he's got to be better at some point too. I think he leads the league in drops so far with 3 or 4. So he just needs to be better. It's not all. You hear me bash Deshaun every single week, but it's not all on him. It's some Amari too. So, but yeah, like you said, it is a good matchup against the Giants, and I can see him having a little bit of a breakout this week. Where are you going here with your sweet play in this Giants-Browns matchup?
Cooper's not a bad one, but I would do Jerome Ford. Last week was bad, and I think they need to get him more involved for them to be able to win a game. Although I don't really like anybody really from this game. It's kind of going to be a rough one, I feel like.
Yeah, that's why the game total is under 40 at 38.5. It's going to be an ugly, grinded out kind of game because, quite frankly, these offenses, they kind of stink, guys. Outside of a few playmakers on each, but this isn't one of the games that I'm excited for. With that said, Ike, who are you out on this week? Who's your sour play?
Devin Singletary, Malik Neighbors, you can say. Browns do pretty solid against wide receivers. Plus Myles Garrett and that defense might get to Daniel Jones and spook him a little bit.
That's a guarantee, man.
So really, I don't like much of the Giants. If you might have better options at running back for sure over Singletary, maybe Neighbors. But if you do, I'd start someone different.
The only guy on the Giants offense, let's be real, that you want to start in this matchup is Malik Neighbors because of how much volume that man sees.
Locking and loaded.
Singletary here.
Yeah, but
in 14, 16 team leagues, you could probably start Wandale, who's been decent the first couple weeks, seeing a bunch of targets week 1, then catching the touchdown last week. But yeah, this Giants offense is looking tough. Gets a solid Browns defense. But Mike, who are you out on this week out of this matchup?
I feel like this is a theme because it's Devin Singletary. Last week, he finishes an RB2 with an RB22 finish, so just barely finished there. This week is the 10th toughest matchup for RBs, so it's just I feel like lock it and loaded. He will not finish as a top 24 RB this week. I mean, he didn't finish as a top 24 RB against Vikings in week 1 either. So, being that it's a tough matchup, he is kind of matchup based. I do not like it. So if you have a better option, sit Devin Singletary.
Yeah. All right, guys, you heard it. The boys are out on Devin Singletary this week in this matchup against the Browns.
Quick temperature test. Devin Singletary or Cam Akers starting for the Houston Texans this week?
Devin Singletary.
Texans play Vikings.
I'm going to go Cam Akers, I think, actually, even though I don't love it. But
I still lean Devin Singletary because they still use Dare Ogunbowale for Houston as well. So it's probably just going to be more of a split backfield. Or at least Singletary gets the workload. But go ahead.
That's fair. Next game we got here on the slate, the Chicago Bears travel to Indianapolis, take on the Colts. Bears are getting 1 point on the road. Game total 43.5. Ike, we're going to start with you, my friend. Who is your sweet play out of this Bears-Colts matchup?
It's the person they're going to have to rely on because the Colts struggle at it. DeAndre Swift. He needs to have a good game. You could say Khalil Herbert too, but you're not going to start him anyways. DeAndre Swift is the one that people are struggling on. So I think if the Bears want to make life easy for Caleb, get him in play action, stuff like that, DeAndre Swift needs to have a good game, and I think the Colts are a good matchup for him.
Yeah, if this is the week if there was ever a time DeAndre Swift was going to do it, this is the week against the Colts, that's for sure. The Bears' offensive line has to do a better job creating space.
Before his Buckner's out.
Yeah, it's the absolute smash matchup. If you're not starting DeAndre Swift this week, why is he on your roster?
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got to give him a go. Mike, looking at you now, my friend, who are you in on in this Colts Bears matchup?
I'm doing too much behind the scenes here. I'm gonna lose track one of these times, and I'm gonna get caught on a muted button. Just wait. I'm already foreshadowing it. But again, it's a theme. It's DeAndre Swift.
Stop stealing my shit.
It's not stealing. We do this separately, so that makes it more fun. So because we don't know who we're picking.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. To be honest, I wasn't listening to you, Ike, as far as your
That's
information
nice of you.
was. I was doing, like I said, I was doing stuff behind the scenes. But if I repeat anything, I apologize. But Colts are the 10th best matchup for running backs. They've allowed the most rushing yards through 2 games, 474. That's 237 yards a game. DeAndre Swift is dominating the snaps at 67.5. Next highest is Travis Homer at 24.6. So it's not even a contest right now.
And
That's
he's out this week too.
So like maybe Khalil Herbert gets 25% of the snaps, but either way, it's Swift dominating him. And through 2 games, he is averaging 15 opportunities a game. That's startable. It's just the offensive line has been absolute dog water. So it's tough, but I like because of the matchup here, Swift will get involved in the passing game. I think this is a feasible game for Swift to, come through in the clutch.
100%. 100%. Looking at the sour side of things, though, Mike, who don't you like here in this matchup?
Oh, I have a feeling it's going to be the same player. It's Michael Pittman. Yeah, you're stealing my shit now.
No, it's his quarterback for mine.
It's kind of that. He's dealing with back and calf injury all throughout the week. He's going to play, but it's still not great to have 2 lingering injuries when you're going up against the 8th toughest matchup for QBs and the 14th toughest matchup for wide receivers. And your QB is kind of struggling as well, coming off 3 interceptions in Anthony Richardson. So it's not a great mix. Then also, a positive side for the offense that might hurt Michael Pittman's volume here is Josh Downs practiced all week. Mm-hmm. I think, he's finally going to be fired up for the first game of the year. He got interviewed saying, all's well. So he should be good to go this week. So it's just another mouth to feed.
Yeah. I talked last week how I didn't love Pittman. So I agree with you here. Him getting Jalen Johnson at portions of this game is just going to get shut down there. It's not the week for Michael Pittman. If you got any other options, I agree. I would try to find a way to sit Pittman on the bench. Ike, where are you leaning here for your sour play in this matchup?
Anthony Richardson. Bears did solid against CJ Stroud. I can basically guarantee it now, bet it if you can, that Anthony Richardson will throw a pick or maybe even 2. And for some reason, he didn't run last week, so it's not like he's saving his fantasy day by doing that. So I don't know. I'll have to see. He'll have to run more.
I'm chalking it up to bad coaching last week because in the 4th quarter, they didn't even have Jonathan Taylor out there. They were doing something wrong.
Well, then that's going to continue. So sorry, Anthony Richardson. You're on the sour list.
If there was one person that you like in this Colts offense in this matchup, who would it be even? You probably don't really love
Taylor, maybe.
It's still not a great matchup for Jonathan Taylor either, man. Like Joe Mixon, I know he got hurt last week, but Joe Mixon was shut down by the Bears defensive line before getting hurt.
It's either going to be Anthony Richardson or Jonathan Taylor, but it's not going to be Anthony Richardson passing the ball. It'll probably just be him vulturing some touchdowns, maybe.
He has to run. I don't know why he... Weird.
Yeah, it was weird. I kind of tend to agree with LaPlante. It is a weird game plan for the Colts, but on both sides of the football too. Just letting Josh Jacobs and the Packers, who's the one guy who you can't let him beat you, just lets him beat him. That was a wild game plan by the Colts, that's for sure. Looking at the next game here, we got the Houston Texans taking on the on fire Minnesota Vikings. Texans are favored by 2 points on the road. Vegas doesn't seem to respect the Vikings, putting them as 2-point dogs at home. Game
Do you
total pretty
respect
high
the Vikings?
here. 46.5. Absolutely not, Mike.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Continue.
But Mike, going back to you here, who's your sweet play in this Texans Vikings matchup?
I swear to God, Ike, if you stole my player again, actually, I know you didn't steal this player, because this is kind of an off the wall guy that I'm planting my flag on again. Tank Dell. He has been brutal, absolutely brutal. Does not have a finish better than wide receiver 49 through the first 2 weeks. But with Mixon and Pierce doubtful, and Cam Akers going to start, I cannot see them relying as much on the running game. And they're probably just going to use Stroud more in the short, quick, intermediate passing game. Currently, he is 10th for passing attempts for QBs, and I just see it, slightly getting an uptick. Maybe we scrape top 5 in pass attempts. If we have extended time period without Mixon and Pierce. But here's what I like the most. The Vikings have allowed the 7th most receiving yards in the NFL with 460 through 2 games. That's 230 yards a game to wide receivers. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a takedown breakout, man. It's just to be interesting how the Texans attack this Vikings defense, who we saw last week gave Brock Purdy a lot of fits. Mike, going to you here. Who's your sweet play out of this matchup?
I'm going to go Aaron Jones. Last week he struggled on the ground, but he still saw 6 targets, caught 5 of them. Sam Darnold.
How can you say that? You know what he finished as last week?
I just told you it was bad, but what I'm getting to is Sam Darnold might be getting pressured quite a lot by Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter, so his best option would be to dump it off to Aaron Jones.
I like it. I like the call there, man. Who on the opposite end, though? Who are you out on in this Texans Vikings matchup?
Like I just said, Sam Darnold. I know some people are feeling like some type of way about him. Maybe in like your super flex leagues, you might want to put him as QB2, but this ain't the week for him. Like I said, he's going to be under pressure quite a lot. He might revert back to old ghost Darnold. So I don't know. We'll see. If he does well this game, he should be on your radar for super flex leagues, though. That's for sure.
With the news of Joe Mixon most likely being out, I was a little bit surprised that neither of you guys had Cam Akers as your sweet play. What are your thoughts here? Is it the matchup, or you guys really? Is it more of the split backfield with Daria Gubawale, which you touched on at the top of the show, Mike?
Just absolutely have no hankering to play him. I don't think he's seen enough football lately to warrant a start in most leagues, to be honest.
It is partially the matchup too. 9th toughest against running backs is the Vikings. Like Brian Flores has an intricate blitzing scheme that just it brings struggles to running offenses. Like you look at what they did to the Niners last week. They beat the Niners, and what is the thing the Niners do? They dominate the run game. I mean, so Brian Flores is probably just going to stifle Cam Akers, considering this is his first NFL game action this year. I'd rather go out on a limb on Tank Dell if I'm going to go out on a limb for Cam Akers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to an extent, I hear you.
I'll stick my neck out for Tank Dell, not Akers.
Well, who are you out on this week, man, in this matchup?
I am out on Aaron Jones again. This is why I don't understand why you picked him. He finished as RB29 last week. That's barely flex worthy, guys. It wasn't even double digits. And he's got the 3rd toughest matchup against RBs this week against Houston Texans. So the Niners last week were the 13th toughest matchup, and he finishes RB29. We're going to crank it up 10 more teams. I don't think he's starting. He'll end up at enough points to start in your flex this week. He had 5 of 6 receptions, 5 receptions on 6 targets last week, and only 9 carries. Like, I'm saying it right now, he's not going to finish as a top 24 running back.
Does it worry you, Ike? Anything you saw from the Texans shutting down the Bears' run game, or do you attribute that just to the Bears' offensive line being really bad? More so,
I think the Bears' just offensive line is disjointed right now, and they're got no confidence. So Vikings are riding some type of wave right now. So yeah. I still like Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I thought the Vikings were going to have a hell season this year, and so far they're shut me up through 2 weeks. Let's see if they can keep it going against in a tough matchup here. Jumping into the next game here, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New Orleans Saints. Saints are favored by 2.5 at home. Vegas buying into the Saints offense a little bit. AJ Brown is out for the Eagles once again, so I'm assuming one of your guys' sweet play is Devonta Smith here. But Ike, we're going to start with you. Where are you going, man?
Olave or Shaheed. Eagles once again can get brutalized by wide receivers. So I think it's time to give Olave some work. And obviously Shaheed's coming off 2 straight games with a touchdown. So I like both of them. Could be a shootout. Hopefully is a shootout. So yeah, I like both of them. I also like Kamara too. You can say Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts should have a good game. So yeah.
We've seen this Eagles secondary struggle in the past too, so it'll be interesting to see if Shaheed could pop off for a long one in three straight weeks. The plan, who you going with here in this?
How you gonna ignore Sean's comment? He's commenting on Mike Bonney's hat game.
Ike acknowledged him.
He would like you to acknowledge him. That's what I'm saying.
I did.
No, Dylan needs to acknowledge him.
Fucking Dylan.
We all need
to I acknowledge him.
But so I hate it because I'm matching Ike again. It's Chris Olave is my sweet pick. He finished as wide receiver 26 last week. He will finish as a top 15 wide receiver this week. That's how confident I am. Eagles are the third easiest matchup for wide receivers. Olave's getting 20% of the target share for this team. That's elite levels. Star levels, elite levels is like 30%, but not many, wide receivers get. Yeah, but still, the 20% is an easy startable number. And then here's the kicker. Drake London last week scored a touchdown on the Eagles. Can you guys recall the last time Drake London scored a touchdown? It was
week 4 of last year.
Good guess. It was October 1st last year. Almost a full year since Drake London has scored a touchdown. And if we can get that kind of hope from the Falcons offense and Drake London from this Eagles secondary, I think we can get that kind of hope for Chris Olave here. I think he's guaranteed to score a touchdown this week.
Ooh, all right. I like it. Boys are in on Chris Olave this week. Getting some love here. Mike, who aren't you giving some love here in this matchup?
Oh, man. Let's see if you have the balls. I do. Saquon Barkley.
Oh, nope.
Saints are the second toughest matchup for running backs. They've only allowed 126 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown through 2 games. We're talking here that's 63 yards a game to running backs. AJ Brown has been ruled out, so they're going to double Devontae Smith. So that's why I wasn't really comfortable with him being the sweet pick here, because the Saints matchup, the defense for the Saints is better than the defense for the Eagles here, and I think the Eagles could be in for a rough time. And if they stack the box on Barkley because they can't get the passing game going here, I have no faith in here. No faith in him this week. He finished as a top 10 running back week 1 and 2. He's not going to be a top 12 running back this week. I'm saying it now. Planting
all right, stay
my flag.
Stay from Saquon Barkley, says Mike.
You're starting him because some people don't have the option, but temper your expectations. It's not going to be an RB1 finish this week.
All right, fair. Ikuyata.
Dallas Goedert. Eagles have only allowed 7 catches, or Saints have only allowed 7 catches to a tight end position through 2 games. Not looking great for Dallas Goedert. You'd think he would get more last week with AJ Brown out. Wasn't really the case. And he's more inline worker, like between the seams, and Demario Davis should lock that down pretty well.
Yeah, not a fan of Dallas Goedert. Just all the hype in the world last week with AJ Brown out, like you alluded to, and he just not really in the game plan. Disappointing for sure. Before we jump into the next games, we do got a couple questions here. I had two on my backs are Hall, Steele, Mason, Aaron Jones, Braylon Allen, Tyler Algier. Should I trade Rashad Bucky for Anthony Richardson, Bigsby, or just start Fields? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Does he have another quarterback? Because if not, he has to do that. Oh, no, or just start Fields.
Steelers get the Chargers at a really
This
low
is
game
not a great week
Michael
for
Plant,
Fields
you're
to start.
muted.
I told
No,
you
it's
it's going to happen.
It's not a great week for Fields. to
So
start.
I got to get this straight here. He's got Rashad White, Bucky Irving, Breece Hall, Carson Steele, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, Braylon Allen, and Tyler Algier. 8 running backs.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting out of it. Yeah.
If you have that many running, and then he's got Bigsby too, or no?
No,
he's
he
gonna
wants
get
to get
Bigsby
Bigsby.
back.
He would
Yeah.
get Bigsby. Yeah.
I would do the trade. I mean, yeah, you got that
He's
many
got-
running
he's got
backs.
the
Do the
depth.
trade. Yeah, do the trade. You're gonna get a better. I mean, at least do the trade to get some depth. Maybe rock Fields and AR back and forth because Fields might take the job and run with it over Russell Wilson at this point.
I don't know. I mean,
If they don't lose-
Fields may be the starter for the long term. I agree. I just don't know if this offense is going to make him fantasy relevant because they don't have him take enough chances. To be honest with you, so
He doesn't need to. He just needs to run.
No, I hear you. He's not even.
I
doing
can't
a
remember.
ton-
I can't
a ton
remember
of
who.
that. But go ahead,
I
Mike.
can't remember who brought up this stat. I think it was on the Ringer podcast with Danny Heifetz and all them. But Justin Fields does not run in the month of September. He just doesn't. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I know.
But in the month of October,
Fuck that
he
month.
just takes off. October, he takes off though, and that's where he starts to have these finishes. So if he makes it 4-0 with the Steelers, which is pretty possible here. He could take the starting gig and run with it, and we're looking at because of bye weeks talking about starting Justin Fields over some people.
He is not being the Chargers.
It'll
You
be
want to make a
interesting.
bet? Actually,
Ooh.
no. Man, I will talk about that game when I get to it. That one was
It's
a tough
next.
one when I was doing it.
It is next.
Oh well, there's your transition, Dylan.
No, we still
No,
got
it's
more
not because we
questions.
still got questions. Not sure if you guys talked about this game yet, but how do you see the Chiefs backfield playing out?
I just saw a question. Oh my god.
What did we do we want to touch on this now or wait for that game to come around?
Not sure if you guys talked about the Chiefs backfield plan. I want to snag Hunt and one of you guys. I think Hunt is definitely a stash player. If you got somebody on the bench, you can cut. Go pick him up. Same with Steele. Same with Samaje Perine, honestly, because I heard reports that Andy Reid said Pacheco might be out for the year, and if that is the case,
fracture his fibula or whatever.
I mean, they initially said 8 weeks, but now it's the year, which is realistic. They're going to need to fill the void. They did, bring in Keontae Ingram. I don't trust it. They're not going to be using Kareem Hunt this week. He's still on the practice squad, but I think the next week he's going to start. It's just a matter of, you want to get – it's a lottery ticket at this point. Get a lottery ticket. If it hits, awesome. If not, you're just going to dump him again.
Yeah. I'm out on Kareem Hunt. Not a fan. I think he's pretty toast.
He's not. I mean, the
His
running back coach
efficiency
for the
number-
Chiefs
his
said he
efficiency-
wasn't.
His
I
efficiency
don't really
numbers
like
say
any of the running
otherwise.
backs.
No, I don't love it either. That's why I didn't run out to try to get any of them
Fuck.
here. It's
Hell no.
what about when Clyde comes back after week 4 too? After he's designated to return, it's just gonna be a hodgepodge of poop. So I'm out here. We got another.
You can
question
pick one
here.
out.
This is
but
funny.
I'll
This
trade
is a
for
funny
one.
question. I'll
Would
let
you
two
trade
answer
Pittman
first.
Richardson for Ridley Purdy?
100
All
times,
three
100%.
to answer. Trade Pittman Richardson for Ridley Purdy. Yeah, I like the Ridley Purdy side.
Yeah, so
Agreed.
initially when I read this question, I want Pittman Richardson for the ceiling. All right, but why this answer has changed for me is because when I was doing my research for Pittman is the injury. So I just don't want to deal with the injury at that point. And the reason why this is funny is because Gary offered me this in the American Raz League. And that's why I wanted all three of us to answer.
Plus, by the way, if Anthony
I-
Richardson's going to score a touchdown, it's going to be a deep ball, and that's not going
Gary-
to Michael Pittman.
Gary, I swear to God, I left that trade on the table. If you would have accepted it, I would have taken. I would have, done it. But when I saw the, research of looking at the injury for Pittman, I was like, nope, taking it off the table. I don't want it anymore. I'll just stay pat with, Ridley and Purdy.
Got another one here. Got offered DK and Connor for Achane. I was going to counter him DK JT for Achane. Ooh, DK and JT, that's not going to happen.
Hey, no.
DK and Connor's not bad.
DK and Connor's not bad, yeah.
Shoot your shot for DK and JT. The worst
I don't think so. That's how you piss somebody off, though.
Plus, JT isn't doing that well. I like it. If you
dude, you just say in the, hey, let's start with DK and JT. How you feeling? Give me, let me feel, your temperature on this offer. If he doesn't like it, you just say, okay, I understand. What do you feel about like DK and Connor? You'd never start with
chance they'd like it.
You never start with the offer you actually want to do, because that's not a terrible offer getting DK and Connor for Achane. It's overall more points, two players. So I would do it, but at the same time, I would shoot my shot for DK and JT first.
At first, he offered me DK, Rice, JT for Achane and St. Brown. No.
Man, with Pacheco out, Rice might be like a monster, dude. Like I honestly think with Pacheco out, if they pass more, Rice might score more points than Amon-Ra St. Brown with the emergence of Jameson Williams at this point.
I don't believe
it. That's crazy talk. Moving on to the next game.
It's early.
Moving on to the next game, we got the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is going to be a grinded out, ugly game. How are you guys? We'll start with you, Mike, here on this one. Who are you in on in this game? Who's your sweet pick? Because I don't know how you could choose somebody here.
I felt like it's easy.
My sweet pick is J.K. Dobbins.
Bingo.
All right, this is a tough matchup. Seventh toughest.
Well, I don't have to say anything.
Seventh toughest against the running backs for the Steelers. But the Chargers are second in the league in rushing yards with 395 yards, only behind the Packers that have 424. Did you know he leads the league in rushing yards with 266 yards? And the most astonishing fact is he is averaging 9.9 yards an attempt. So I know he isn't getting the volume, but this offensive line is creating massive holes for Dobbins to just chunk defenses. And like I know the Steelers defense is a menace, but this is the best O-line they're going to go up against this year. I think, the immovable, object in the O-line wins in this one, and I think the Chargers pull out a victory. That's why it's like if Justin Fields can pull off the win, I think he might be the guy down the stretch, because this is going to be a tough, grinded out game that I think the Steelers will view as a pivotal game.
Herbert is also dealing with an injury.
Yeah. I know you're not a ranker, LaPlante, though. Would you have Dobbins? So you'd have Dobbins locked in as a top 24 guy this week, then?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because I saw Joe's rankings, and I'm sure they're going to change. If you guys want to get, check out those rankings, they're very useful. Get a membership, check out the Discord, fantasy6pack.net/plans. But last I saw it, he had J.K. Dobbins at 27. And I was kind of astonished. I was like, I get it. It's the matchup. But at some point, you got to just say, he's being uber efficient right now because of the offense around him. It's not, and it's a combination of him as well. Like, we know that J.K. Dobbins, when he played in the Ravens, he was a yards per carry guy. Now he's got a better offensive line, and he's just not yakking it, but, almost 10 yards a carry. That's insane. That's what Devon Achane was doing last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't like the matchup, so I feel like it's a total trap here. But I get your side of it. I definitely do.
It's trap.
It seems like you may want to double down on the J.K. Dobbins love here.
I'm all in.
Sweet pick is
130 yards back-to-back games. I don't know what it is with Harbaugh. His running game always seems to work, even in Michigan. So I get it. Like LaPlante said, Steelers are a good defense, but every once in a while, a good defense gets mauled on, and this could be the team that does it.
All right. Brody brings up a good point as well here. Are you worried about Gus Edwards at all, who outsnapped him last week? Or do you just feel like it's J.K. Dobbins still getting his legs back underneath him?
I just think they're getting Dobbins more ramped up. At some point he's going to see more and more touches, but with the way he's running, you don't need to give him 20 touches, 15, 20 touches.
All right. Ike, who's the guy you're out on in this matchup?
Wait, before we move forward, Brody, don't worry too much about the outsnapped. It was literally by 1. It was 33-32, so don't worry about it.
So
I mean,
it's a split like we thought was gonna happen.
Gus Edwards is a flex-worthy play, but he's touchdown dependent. J.K. Dobbins is
Weren't they smacking them too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's only 1 snap that he outsnapped him by, so it's not a big deal.
Who you out on, Ike?
Justin Fields. Chargers are really good against quarterbacks, and Harbaugh has experience with Justin Fields or playing against him. So I think it'd be cool for that to come back into the NFL this time. I'm sure he's going to dial up some shit for Justin Fields, make his life hell. Hope to save his day, Fields is going to have to do some running. I don't see it happening.
That was an interesting take, man. I haven't heard the Harbaugh versus Fields thing. I like that one, man. You intrigued me there. Yeah, I don't love the matchup for him either. Unless he gets going with his legs, which he might in this game, because this game might be over in 2 hours, guys.
But Harbaugh's going to know he's going to use his legs. So, I mean, it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what Harbaugh has for it.
Yeah, for sure. I just don't really want any part of this game.
Nope.
I mean, outside, you're going to start George Pickens because he's the man.
Reluctantly.
Yeah, it's not ideal. But, Mike, who are you out on this week, my friend? Are you frozen?
Okay. Bye. See ya.
All right, he is gone. But yeah, to be honest with you, like I've already been saying, it's George Pickens, it's maybe J.K. Dobbins if you don't have any other matchups. Well, does Quentin Johnston intrigue you at all? Or
he finally looks like what he was drafted for. That one go route, he beat his guy easily, so he's gonna get more ramped up here, so I like it. Not enough to start yet.
I was going to say, do you think it's an anomaly what he's been doing, or is he totally just making me, for sure, I don't know about you, make me eat my words, because I lit him up like a Christmas tree, just like his perception chart was that we saw from Matt Harmon. It was bad, but he looks better now.
12-plus leagues, you might be forced into it, so don't feel too bad.
He should be rostered.
Should be rostered.
I wouldn't be
in 10-team leagues. Please don't be starting him. It's not it yet.
But Mike, good to see you're back, man. After dealing with some technical difficulties,
I wasn't hardwired in. Take a lesson, guys. If you want to be on a show, hardwire in.
Don't listen to him. I don't do it.
Now you get to bust his balls like forever for him the one lagging out in the middle of the thing. But Mike, who you out on this week out of this matchup?
It's the opposite of Justin Fields. It's Herbert. You got the injury.
Oh yeah.
And then, the Chargers are the toughest matchup for QBs, but the second toughest is the Steelers. So, it's
hell yeah. It's going to be a brutal game.
Grinded out game. I wouldn't be starting Herbert or Fields. I would start Fields just because I think the rushing floor is going to outscore Herbert. But if it's super flex, I'd be sitting Fields. I mean, goddamn. Sitting Herbert.
Are we dropping Josh Palmer at this point, or are we still sticking it out here? Because it has been great from him. I know he's dealing with a little bit of an injury here, but how are we feeling? Temperature check on Josh Palmer. You don't need him?
Don't need him.
Like it's QJ over Palmer rest of the season for you?
Yes.
I wouldn't say
Mike,
rest of the season
agree?
Just yet. It's week 2. But he is droppable. He's got 6 targets through 2 weeks. It's Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston getting the targets. So he is droppable.
Not surprised by.
He's droppable, but at the same time, I wouldn't say rest of the season just yet.
In deeper leagues,
you did say QJ should be rostered, but now you're saying Palmer is droppable. So maybe
exactly. If you got Palmer, drop him for Quentin Johnston. It's a matter of targets. Quentin Johnston's almost doubled his targets through 2 games.
All right. Next
Same
game
with
here.
McConkey.
Next game here, we got the Denver Broncos taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Broncos getting 6.5 points on the road. That's not enough points. I'm smashing the Bucs in this game.
Nice.
The game total is 40.5. The Broncos struggling so bad with the rookie quarterback. Like, we'll start with you. Hey, Hannah, who are you in on in this matchup between the Broncos and Bucs?
Dylan.
This is an easy one. I feel like LaPlante should agree with this. Baker, man, 2 top 5 finishes. I think it's Baker's time. He's found an offensive coordinator just like he did last year. Liam, it's working perfectly for him. Godwin's back in his spot, which is working out perfectly for Baker. It's an easy throw to him. I would like to see Mike Evans get more involved. But yeah, I like Baker in this one.
He's just vibing, man.
That cabin
He's just here to
you're at,
vibe. He's getting the ball to his playmakers. Mike Evans making plays. Chris Godwin making plays last week.
Plus, the Broncos suck.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I think you're another sweet play who Mike might talk about. I don't know. It's Chris Godwin here. Again, he should absolutely smash in the slot. Mike Evans is going to get Surtain. It's going to be another Chris Godwin game. But Mike,
I knew his switch to the slot would be just magic.
He's an absolute killer, man. He really is from the slot. Mike, who are you in on in this matchup?
I didn't want to take the low-hanging fruit on Chris Godwin because Chris Godwin's a smash in this one.
Yeah.
But my sweet player, I'm going out on a limb here and saying it's Javonte Williams.
Yes. Okay, I know what you're going to say for that, so I get it.
So the Buccaneers, at least through 2 games, that's why, it's short samples. Dude, the Buccaneers through 2 games, it's the 3rd best matchup for running backs. Brian Robinson, week 1, RB14 finish. Montgomery, week 2, RB13 finish. And Gibbs, RB10
They allow a lot of
finish.
catches, too.
And RB10 finish from Gibbs. So 2 top 15 running backs on the same offense in week 2. All right. Javonte Williams is dominating the snaps compared to McLaughlin. 58.5% to 31.5% for McLaughlin. All right. So I think it's a locked and load. Javonte will be a top 15 RB this week.
The thing he didn't mention, though, which he should have, is Javonte should get a decent amount of targets because Tampa Bay just decides not to cover the running back, apparently.
They're just okay about that. So to me, it sounds like it could be a 5-catch, 25-yard game for Jaleel McLaughlin. Like. Mike, who are you out on, though, following your sweet?
Just say the whole Broncos offense.
No,
except for Javonte.
No, I'm not taking the low-hanging fruit. It's Mike Evans. Like you guys kind of alluded to. He's getting Patrick Surtain. All right. Week 1, held
Like
DK
a whole
Metcalf.
foot smaller.
I don't care. Held DK Metcalf is what DK Metcalf is like 2 feet taller, probably. No, I'm kidding. But DK Metcalf is a specimen, and he was held to wide receiver 63 finish in week 1. George Pickens is also a physical specimen. Finishes wide receiver 64 in week 2. If Surtain is that's good. If Surtain is shadowing Mike Evans, he is not finishing a top 24 wide receiver this week.
But this is always when Mike Evans decides to be like, I'm going into.
If he does, it's all touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those old Tom Brady performances, 2 catches for 2 touchdowns and maybe 10 yards.
Yeah, he could definitely do it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Mike's saying sit Mike Evans here in the matchup.
Exactly.
Though it's not a great one. You're still playing him everywhere.
He's going to be a top 30.
Like
he's going to be a
week.
top 36, I think. He's still going to be start worthy. Worst case scenario, he ends up being in flex territory. But you're starting him. It's just you're tempering your expectations on Mike Evans.
I just feel like he got mad after last week not getting targeted so much, so they might get him involved a little bit more.
Jamie knows what I'm talking about with Mike Evans. He does the QB wide receiver matchups.
Hey, Jamie. Yeah, the Lions just blanketed Mike Evans last week. They didn't want him to beat him, allowing Chris Godwin to
bad idea
in the slot on the corners. But Ike, who are you out on in this matchup?
I was going to say if you have any hankering to start a Broncos wide receiver, I would suggest not doing it, which means Cortland Sutton should be on your bench. Don't think about Bo Nix clearly at all. But yeah, I would just stay away from Broncos offense. Javonte, we discussed, but still Man, he has to rely on the targets because he's still not good on the run. There's something going on. He just can't break free for anything. So it's worrisome, but I like that the Buccaneers allow catches to the running back. That'll save him.
And this offense just can't score. So
Nope.
scoring opportunities are going to be few and far between. Man, they scored 6 points last week, right? It's
Basically, any rookie quarterback can't score. So
yeah, 100%. We know how that feels, man.
Yep.
Jumping into the next game, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Tennessee Titans. LaPlante, we'll start with you, pal. Packers are +3 right now on the road against the Titans. I don't know if Vegas was accounting Jordan Love possibly
I
playing.
think they
here.
are because
That's
he's been
interesting.
practicing.
No,
I
man,
think-
but the Packers are getting 3 points, so they're underdogs.
this is
in this
not the game he should be
Game
coming
total
back on.
37,
He don't need
right?
to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should start. I think they should sit him out another game. If they lose, they lose. No biggie.
Yeah.
And if he's feeling better next week, then he'll, come in. He's young, so I get it. He wants to do it, but I wouldn't be starting him.
Who are you
Last thing he
seeing on
needs
this?
is Justin Simmons coming up on him.
Yeah, right. Who who are you in on this week, Mike, out of this matchup? And why is the right answer Tony Pollard?
The right answer is Tony Pollard. Packers are the 6th best matchup for running backs. We all know this. Thing that's a little weird here is Tajay Spears did not practice for one day of the week. He had a limited practice another day of the week. And then today he had a full practice, but is still listed as questionable despite that. So it makes me, question his usage for this week, but at the same time, his usage has been in question because Pollard's been dominating the snaps, 63.8%.
I was going to say, don't worry about Spears.
Yeah, just Spears is 9.2. He's out-touched him 41 to 16 through 2 games. I think this is the week, lock it and load it, that Pollard finishes as an RB12 or better.
All right, I like it. It's been great what we've seen for Pollard so far this year, too. Ike, who are you in on this matchup?
He finished as a RB12 against the Bears in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it's impressive for Tony Pollard. Yeah, it's impressive.
Mine was Tony Pollard too. The easy one to also is Josh Jacobs, strictly because of volume. He might get stuffed a decent amount because of Simmons, but I do expect him to fall into the end zone if they're going to score.
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure, too. Yeah, definitely just not a great matchup. The opposite end of it,
touchdown bet, I go Josh Jacobs.
All right, I like it. Who are you out on, man?
Still the Green Bay wide receivers, as long as Malik Willis is the quarterback. I know we saw some flashes last week, but it's just not enough volume for the 4 or 5 wide receivers that are constantly rotating in that offense. I don't think Malik Willis can support even one of them, but all this goes away if Jordan Love comes back. So,
yeah, if Love is in, are you okay starting all 3 of the main guys in this Packers offense, or are you leaning more so 2 out of the 3, or what are your thoughts?
I think the only one I would start if Jordan Love is back is Jaden Reed for now. He seems to be more involved all around in the offense. Christian Watson's boomer bust, and Romeo Dobbs, whatever it is more of the third fiddle guy.
Yeah, I hear you there. Dobbs was saved by a long play last week where he had a decent day because of it. But Mike, who are you out on in this matchup? Packers Titans.
It sucks either way. So it's Josh Jacobs for me as my sour player. You got to start him. And here's the thing. Love is questionable. They shouldn't play him, but if they do play him, in week 1 he only got 18 touches with Jordan Love.
I get that, yeah. If Jordan Love plays.
So I mean, maybe he gets a little bit of an uptick because Jordan Love is, still a little bit banged up, but we're looking at, a maximum of 20 touches. All right. Now, here's the thing. If he doesn't play, last week he got 32 rushing attempts, 0 targets. So he knew his role, and 32 attempts is still, very valuable. But when you're going up against the Titans, who have allowed the 9th fewest rushing yards this season with only 185, that's less than 100 a game. I just, this Titans D line is nothing to, and their secondary is not bad either. So this is a game where I can see why the Packers are underdogs, but it's mainly if Jordan Love is out.
Yeah,
That's that luxurious need effect right there.
Mm-hmm. Jumping into the afternoon games, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Panthers led by the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, now with the Bryce Young benching, getting 6 points on the road. Game total 39.5. Mike, we'll start with you. Who do you like in this matchup, man? Do we see a resurgence from this Panthers offense, perhaps, or are you going with someone from the Raiders?
This is such an disgusting sweet pick, but it's Zamir White. Panthers are the fourth best matchup for running backs, so it's premier matchup, and they've allowed the second most rushing yards in the NFL at 399. That's almost 200 a game. They've also allowed 3 touchdowns, which is pretty much almost 2 a game. So this is the third most touchdowns allowed, tied in the NFL. We're only through 2 games, but still, good matchup is the point. White has the edge in snaps over Madison, not by a whole lot, but 51.2% to Madison's 40.7. It's still 10%. That's a good, it's a solid gap that, meaning that he's the guy. But more realistically, he's doubled his touches, 27 to Madison's 13. So I think this could be possibly a Zamir White week where he finishes as a top 24 guy. Maybe, if I'm being bullish, top 20. But here's the astounding stat that really has me questioning this pick. Raiders are the only team in the NFL that don't have 100 rushing yards yet through 2 games. They have 98. You know what the next highest is? 136 yards from the Rams. They're a clear cut, a clear cliff drop. They can't run the ball right now. So this is the one thing that scares me. But they got a primo matchup to, get the sales right and get in the right direction.
Yeah. If White doesn't do it this week, he's never going to do it. With Derek
Pretty
Brown
much
being out in the middle of this Panthers defensive line too, it's looking ugly there.
Panthers Brody brings up a good point. Bowers is a great matchup as well. It's surprisingly Gary's right there. He's second in passing yards. It's mainly because it's just been rough for QBs through the first 2 weeks.
That it has. Ike, who are you in this matchup?
Bowers. Panthers allow 18.5 fantasy points per game to tight ends. I feel like that's an easy one. He's clearly more talented than most tight ends in the league. So, yeah, I would start him every week.
Yep.
Plus, this team easily likes to throw, which I don't know why Zamir White was his love pick. Because he's my sour pick.
All right, go into it. Why are you out on?
Dude only averages 13.5 touches per game.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't
not
been
getting any volume. I'd play Charbonnet over him as long as Kenneth Walker is out. I would play.
He is. I'd play Kenneth Walker over him. Yeah.
Charbonnet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
I'd play Sharp over him. Sharp's got top 15 potential this week.
I think Zamir White is kind of trash right now, but
he is. That's why I'm saying this is the game.
He can do it because it should be not a blowout or anything.
This is the game. If he, you should feel comfortable starting him this game, but if he, like Dylan said, if he doesn't do it this game, he's on the bench and he's probably droppable.
I would hope by now you have a better option. I would assume since you were dealing with Zamir White, you saw Kenneth Walker go down, you probably rushed to get Zach Charbonnet, hopefully. So
I'm trying to instill confidence
have
in the
to
people
start him this week.
That have Zamir White here, because you have a good matchup where, if things line, it should happen.
Right. Who are you out on, Mike?
Deontay Johnson. And I know it's a little odd because I'm staying away from this offense, even with Andy Dalton this week. Raiders are right in the middle. You can say they're the 16th best matchup or the 16th worst matchup. They're really literally smack dab in the middle for wide receivers. But through 2 weeks, they are only allowing 186 passing yards. So not very good ceiling, not a very big floor either. And the disturbing fact is Adam Thielen is playing more snaps than Deontay Johnson, 80.4% to 78.5%. I know it's not that much, but it's just the fact that Thielen is playing more snaps than Deontay Johnson. It's not a good sign.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Deontay Johnson does here with Andy Dalton at quarterback because we've seen him be competent before. So it'll be interesting. And everything.
I just got to see it for a week first. That's all.
Yeah. Everything that Dave Canales has said to us is before the season was they wanted to get the ball. Deontay Johnson, pepper that man. And we haven't seen it yet. Hopefully it starts this week against the Raiders. Next game we got here, Miami Dolphins taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Dolphins plus 4.5 on the road. I'm smashing the Seahawks all day in this matchup. Skylar Thompson at quarterback for the Dolphins with Tua out. Traveling across country to Seattle. It's nightmare matchup for the Dolphins. I'm nervous to play anybody in this matchup, so I'm curious to hear.
Anybody.
Let's start at your guys' sour picks here. Mike, who are you out on in this matchup?
My sour pick is Jalen Waddle. No Tua. I expect this offense to go through Tyreek Hill and Achane. Jalen Waddle last week when Tua got hurt, I know he got hurt. I believe it was the third quarter, so he at least got a half with Tua. He still only finished as wide receiver 39. I just don't trust Skylar Thompson to run this offense and be able to support, it's honestly, I'm concerned that, Thompson's not even going to be able to support two players on this offense in Hill and Achane, and it's probably going to be, most likely Hill, but man, I'm going to go right into my sweet pick because it's Achane. With Mostert doubtful, before Thursday night football, Breece Hall and Achane were tied for most targets for an RB with 14 through 2 games. Achane is 12th in rushing attempts. He has 2 top 5 RB finishes through 2 weeks. I know this is, the 14th toughest matchup for running backs, but I just think he's, with the volume here that he's guaranteed and the explosiveness he has and efficiency he has, he's a locked and loaded top 10 running back this week.
All right. Ike, how about you give me your guys? Start with your sour pick here.
We're on the right page. I did Hill and Waddle because most teams don't have the speed to keep up with these guys. Seahawks do with Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon. Obviously, they won't be able to shut them down the whole time, but it should be okay for – plus, obviously, Skylar Thompson is there, so it should be a rough sledding for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You got to start at least Tyreek Hill, but be careful on it.
Yeah, for sure. If there's any way, shape, or form that you could sit Waddle this week, I think this is the week to do so. Who are you in on?
He's got to go against Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon, whatever way it goes.
Yeah, it's bad time. It's a bad time for sure. Who are you in on, pal?
Oh, I said earlier, Zach Charbonnet. Volume, when Kenneth Walker is out, as long as he stays out, he averages 19 touches per game. You got to love that for a guy you maybe drafted at the end of the year, at the end of your drafts, or picked up on the waiver wire. 97, Ike, was the number. Percentage of how many snaps he played last week. 7% of the snaps. That's crazy. Because who else are you going to get?
Kenny McIntosh.
I get it, but you want to talk about somebody that maybe just be bad at football. He's averaging 2.3 yards per carry.
That's okay. He still get 5 catches.
That's okay. That 2.3 yards a
zone.
Carry is okay. Okay.
He'll plot his way into the end zone against a Skylar Thompson-led Dolphins.
You said what is he guaranteed for volume, Mike?
He gets 19 touches per game with Kenneth Walker.
19 touches. Congratulations, you got 38 yards with 2.3 yards.
Hey, at least he's getting a touchdown and multiple catches. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's still 15 points.
I like your math there right on the show, man. I like it.
Quick math.
Before we move on to the next game, Albert wants our thoughts on JSN this week. Taking on the Dolphins. Fire him up. I like what we saw last week from him. The Dolphins defense hasn't shown us much through the first 2 weeks outside of slowing down the Jaguars offense, which everyone's slowing down the Jaguars offense. It's I'm not impressed with their defense. So yeah, I think you're firing JSN up. I think he's a top 36 receiver this week. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
I'm not as bullish on them. Dolphins are a tough matchup against wide receivers. It's just because it's easier to run against them. That's why Sharps, it is a good matchup for Sharps. I was just knocking him for his efficiency. I am questioning JSN this week. I say he is a top 36, but it's like 30 to 36 is where I think he finishes.
All right. Next.
You could just said yeah because he's top 36, but
But that's not great, I feel like.
But that's wide receiver 3, so I mean that's.
I wouldn't be shocked if he finishes beyond 36. Also it's a possibility.
Bum, bum, bum.
Would you guys trade Devontae Adams and Jalen Warren for Chase? I would. Give me the Chase sign all day long.
Yeah, he'll get better.
Yeah, he should get better. I'd do that.
All right, clean sweep. I like it. Next game here, probably the one I'm most excited for. It's a lot of fantasy options. Yeah, the Detroit Lions taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Lions favored by 3 on the road in Arizona. Game total, guys, a whopping 51.5. Vegas expecting a shit ton of points in this one. Ike, we'll start with you here. Who are you in on in this matchup, and why is the answer everybody? Outside of
you totally read my mind. I was just gonna say, let's just say everybody. Pretty much, you want to start McBride. You're starting MHJ, Gibbs, Montgomery, Laporta, Jameson, Amon-Ra. Goff is. You might have better options.
He's got to get going here, man. He's got to get going.
Kyler, you're starting too. So, yeah, there shouldn't be much debate on this on who should be love or even hate. There's not much to hate either.
The hate is James Conner, I think, unfortunately. It's a brutal matchup against Detroit. But that's also because they get murdered through the air, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it interesting. But yeah, if I had to pick a sour guy in this one, it'd be James Conner. I would stay away from the Cardinals backfield in this one. Mike, who are you in on out of this matchup?
I mean, you already gave away my sour pick, so I'm just gonna
who are you in on?
I know, but I want to go on to the James Conner. Like you said, it is a brutal matchup. Kyron finished his RB21 week 1. Rashad White and Bucky Irving both finished as running back 53 or worse against this matchup. That was 2 running backs. Conner has been a top 8 running back twice so far. I don't think he will be even a top 24 running back this week. All right. Now, as far as the player I love, I mean, as far as like he did say, pretty much everybody, but the person I'm smashing in this one is Marvin Harrison. Like you said,
I had that down.
You can throw on this Lions team. Second best matchup for wide receivers. One of 2 teams allowing 50-plus points to wide receivers, the other team being the Commanders. Cooper Kupp finished as wide receiver 2 in week 1 against them. Chris Godwin finished as wide receiver 6 last week. And Harrison is getting 21.2% of the targets, so he is the main man.
You know what those 2 guys had in common, Michael Plant, that you just named, who tore them up? They play from the slot. Unfortunately, Greg the Deutschman Dortch is questionable. He might not play this week, or he would have made his way into my DFS lineup this week because the slot receivers absolutely smash against the Lions.
So just on the James Conner thing, he hasn't finished lower than an RB1 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So it's hard to sit him when he's doing that since last year.
That's a good poll there, man. I like that. Very interesting. Next game, another exciting game this week. You got a pretty good schedule of games here, fellas. The 0-2 Baltimore Ravens, maybe the biggest surprise 0-2 team, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who just got steamrolled at home against the New Orleans Saints. The Ravens are actually favored on the road in this one by 1 point. Game total 47.5. Going to be another high-scoring game. Mike, we'll start with you. Who are you sweet on? Who is going to absolutely smash this week? Who's going to win fantasy managers their matchup out of this matchup?
This one is a, kind of a low-hanging fruit here, but this guy is going to finish as a top 5 wide receiver finally for the first time this year, CeeDee Lamb. All right, Ravens are the fifth best matchup for wide receivers so far. Ravens have allowed 514 passing yards. That's the second most through 2 weeks. One of 8 teams allowing 40-plus fantasy points to wide receivers per game. Rashee Rice was wide receiver 14 week 1. Also, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver 11. Devontae Adams last week finishes wide receiver 5. Old man Rivers. Like Gardner Minshew was able to tear him up. So like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, they're going to get their shit together this week, and he is going to finish as a top 5 wide receiver because his best finish so far is wide receiver 15.
All right, I like it. Instill some confidence in CeeDee Lamb owners. Ike, where are you going here?
I like the CD one, but I'm also going to go did Illinois just win?
No, he spoiled it for me, though. They must be about ready to score a touchdown. Yep, touchdown.
I go Derrick Henry.
Are you really upset, Dylan?
No. I'm thrilled right now.
I go Derrick Henry. Cowboys
Love it, Ike.
have been struggling against the run. They need – I mean, you paid him for something. Give him the ball. He needs the ball to get in a rhythm. I'm sorry you have to give him the ball 15, 20 times. But if you want to win, you got to do that. Clearly, it's not working, whatever you're doing right now.
Yeah. Smash the Derrick Henry anytime touchdown here. He's finding his way into the end zone once again. I am going to be placing that bet.
I want
Sunday
to see
morning.
15 to 20 carries at least.
Yeah, for sure. I know Harbaugh said that he's not the guy that wasn't the reason why they brought him in to grind him out on the ground, but
then pay someone a whole lot less
football
money
games.
that can do the same shit.
And to be honest with you, you want to run the ball so you can keep your defense that's not performing since you lost all those pieces. You lost your defensive coordinator. You want to keep them off the field and keep your awesome offense on the field, especially against the high-powered Dallas offense here. So I'm 100% with you. Give the ball to that man. But who are you out on this week, man?
All Cowboy running backs. Can't decide what one to play. I mean, Deuce Vaughn has doubled his average yards per carry from like 1.5 or maybe even worse to under 3. So, hey, maybe he could turn out as the starting running back for this team. Zeke looks like a plotter just out there for a paycheck. Rico Dowdle is trying, but clearly this running back conundrum is affecting the Cowboys, so they need to figure that out. Until then, I would not even touch a Cowboys running back in any format, 14, 16.
You wouldn't even roster them.
Oh, no, you can roster them, sure.
Okay.
But don't start them. I think the one you should roster most right now is Zeke, unfortunately.
I actually think it's Dowdle. I think Dowdle becomes the guy down the stretch, man.
He's trying, man.
This is his point.
I think the stash is Dowdle. That's my point.
The stash is Deuce Vaughn, all right?
No,
it's 5'5" little piss rockets.
Right, let me just shit on your sweet pick here because my sour pick's Derrick Henry.
Why?
Because I hate you. No, that's not the reason. He's only getting 46.2% of the snaps. You know that's second behind Justice Hill, who just signed a 2-year extension? He's also got 53.8% of the snaps. He's not even playing the most running back snaps. He's 20th in fantasy points per game for running backs. All right. He's only got 3 targets, so absolutely zero involvement in the passing game. Even less than Tennessee, though, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a touchdown-dependent RB2, and right now the Cowboys are right now the numbers are skewed, and the Cowboys are the best matchup for running backs through 2 weeks, all because Alvin Kamara scored 44 PPR.
No, he scarred him. You're right there.
He did scar him. But you know what the next highest scoring running back was last week? Achane with 29.5, literally 15-point difference pretty much. So that's going to skew the numbers with only 2 games played here. The Cowboys are not that bad of a rushing defense.
I
think Derrick Henry struggles.
I love the numbers, Jamie.
I put that up earlier.
I wish you guys were as good as him, man, bringing this data. Got a good question here from Albert. Dak or Carr this week?
Dak.
I go
Yeah, this
Dak.
is-
It's close, Dak.
I think I'll clean sweep it with Dak too, but you got to be intrigued by what we've seen from Derek Carr, man. That's for sure. Which
I
totally
am.
making me eat my words.
I'm-
That's something.
I'm
No matter
concerned-
what, you're not playing Higgins. I just saw that comment. No matter what.
Where was it, Ike?
Cooper
I'm
for
sorry.
Ladd
It's
and-
down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Schefter tweeted that Higgins plans on playing.
Mm-hmm. Would you trade Amari Cooper for Ladd?
Higgins don't play Monday night.
Ladd and
The
Shakir.
Bengals do, yeah.
Oh, they do. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's two games.
Two Monday night games.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. I would.
I like Shakir.
I was just gonna say that. I think
Um,
Shakir intrigues me a lot, and I'm kind of done with Amari Cooper and the Browns
I get-
offense.
I-
if I'm being honest.
Do
I
it.
like Amari. Like, here's the thing, Brody. I like Amari Cooper this week. I think you could probably get squeeze a little bit more value out if Cooper has a good week this week, and then sell high and get the hell out of there.
So you don't think that's high enough, Mike? Shakir and Ladd? Because I feel like Shakir's going to be your nice, solid 10 to 14 PPR fantasy points weekly because he's Josh Allen's favorite target right now, man. And I know that doesn't mean much when Josh Allen's throwing the ball 20 times, but it's still Josh Allen.
That you just said it.
I
Throwing the ball
have him
20
at
times.
later
This
on,
offense
so-
is this offense is a offense that wants to run the ball if they are
do.
winning.
They do.
So Shakir just has a very low floor. Where Cooper, I mean,
At least they know what they're doing. The Browns don't.
that's kind of where I'm saying. Like, I think I would hold off for a week. I'd stay pat for a week because I think Cooper has a decent week this week. Maybe not great, but I think he's gonna have a top 24 finish, and then that's where you could probably maybe get a better player than Ladd. 'Cause I like
It should
Shakir.
get better as the season progresses.
Man, I just
He had some filthy moves I saw a week or so ago.
It's
I
solid,
just-
man.
I just feel like there's going to be this spike week for Cooper, and you're going to be able to just sell him for more.
All right, I hear that. Next game here, we got on the docket, San Francisco 49ers taking on the banged up Los Angeles Rams. Niners favored by 6.5 on the road. Game total 43.5. I guess I could have said that the Niners are banged up too. George Kittle doubtful. Debo Samuel ruled out. Christian McCaffrey still out, nursing that calf Achilles injury.
Did they just cancel this game?
Yeah, maybe they should, but nah. Mike, we'll start with you here. Who is your sweet play out of this matchup? And I feel like there's only one or so answers here. One or two.
There is only one option, and Jamie's going to hate me because it's Kyron Williams. He was talking shit about him in the comments.
Not the guy.
That was not it.
Here's the thing. There's literally no one left. There is no one left. No Puka, no Cup, no starting.
How
no
dare
lineman.
you? DeMarcus
No,
Robinson, man.
Dude, you think Sean McVay is designing a game plan around DeMarcus Robinson or Kyron Williams?
I don't know what
All right.
that mad scientist is doing, man.
But
For all we
they're not
know,
even-
he's got someone in the bag, which I'm about to mention.
Jordan
they've,
Wigginton.
God
They've
damn it,
lost
Dylan.
they've pretty
Sorry,
much
Mike,
lost
go ahead.
everybody. They've pretty much lost everybody on their old line. So I don't even think Stafford's gonna have enough time to find Robinson, and he's just gonna dump it off a bunch of times to Kyron Williams. He's tied for 6th in the league for RBs and targets, and 6th for receptions. He does not have an RB1 finish yet this year, and I think this might be the one just because he's gonna volume his way there. Now,
All right.
I do have one other pick here that's a sweet play, and it's Ayuk. And I know that's the one you guys wanted to hear because it's also no CMC, no Debo Samuel, no George Kittle. But I feel like, come on, that's the easy answer here.
He needs to have a good game. So
That's the
why I was
easy
right.
answer.
Agree.
But
is that where
Jordan-
you were going, Ike, or no?
Weddington, don't be surprised if he kind of just comes out of nowhere. He's one of those guys that Sean McVay really likes. We
He
can
likes
easily
Kyron better.
see him get 6+ targets. I mean, why not? If I'm just not saying start him in any league unless you're in 16 plus or some shit. Not even then, but still, keep an eye on him.
Yeah, for sure. Who are you out on, Ike, here?
His sweet pick, Kyron. He's been bad, man. We've seen it through this whole chat. Michael Plant said
He's
too.
still-
He's yet to
he's
finish
been
his
an
RB1.
He's still been an RB2 though.
Yeah. Oh
He's
yeah.
not finishing as
Yeah.
an RB1. That's
But
all.
that's not gonna win you. That's not gonna win you a week.
I think he gets the RB1 finish this week, and it's going to be because he gets 8 receptions because Stafford doesn't have the time to throw the ball to Jordan Whittington.
Has he ever
or-
caught 8 balls in his life?
Well, he's about to.
Mike, who's your sour pick to this week?
It's Matthew Stafford. I know that's kind of a low-hanging fruit here, but even in Superflex leagues, get him out of your lineup.
Yeah, I mean,
Agreed.
I hear that, man. Yeah, the offensive line is just completely obliterated. It makes a lot of sense. He's a statue back there. It just sucks, man. With all the injuries, you're just wasting a year of Stafford's career. Because who knows how many he has left with all the injuries and everything that he sustained through his career. It just kind of sucks to see the year for the Rams just to go up in flames just by week 2. It's really crazy that
Wild.
that happened. Yeah. Next game here, we're to the Sunday night football game. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Chiefs favored by 3 points on the road. Game total 46.5. Michael Plant, we'll start with you. Who is your sweet play out of this Chiefs Falcons matchup?
I hope you love this one, Dylan. Kyle Pitts. Bingo.
All right.
The numbers are definitely a little skewed here. All right. But the Kansas City Chiefs are the number 1 matchup for tight ends, allowing 30.8 fantasy points per game to tight ends. Now, they are skewed because Isaiah likely finished this tight end week 1. But let's look at last week. Mike Gesicki finished as tight end 5 with 16.1 fantasy points. If Mike Gesicki can finish his tight end 5 and a backup tight end and Isaiah Likely can finish his tight end 1, I think it's lock and load Kyle Pitts as a top 5 tight end this week, maybe even the tight end 1.
You literally stole all my shit right there.
But here's the thing that's weird that I found when I was researching this. Did you know that Kyle Pitts has been on the field more than Bijan Robinson so far? 84% snap count to Bijan's 82%. I found that very strange, but just another good thing for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, that about Kyle Pitts. It's good to see Kirk Cousins be able to take them down on a 2-minute drive to win them the game.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Monday night. He didn't look great throughout the game still.
But that last drive, it was like...
Like it all clicked. Yep, agreed. You guys both agreed on Kyle Pitts. Ike, we'll kick it to you. Who's your sour play here in this Chiefs Falcons matchup?
You should not want to play any Chiefs running back. I get the allure of Steele, but come on. It's not worth it. I'm sure you lost Pacheco, but I'm sure you drafted or should have drafted somebody that is a better option than Steele. Plus, there is very good opportunity that he doesn't even see as many opportunities as you think he will.
Yeah, I'm not in on the Steele bandwagon. I know there's a lot of people that are, but I'm not one of them. I get why you want a piece of this Chiefs offense, why you want a piece of their backfield.
Do you really though? It's been
not for me.
2 years now, or 1.25 years now, where this Chiefs offense isn't real, other than Pacheco and Kelsey and Rice sometimes up until this year. You don't really want anybody in this offense. I mean, Mahomes too, but even he's been ish.
Yeah. Mike, who are you out on this week?
Drake London. Chiefs are the 10th toughest matchup for wide receivers. All right. So I know Drake London had a good week last week, and I love it, but this is just going to be a down week for him. All right. Andre Yoshivas scored 2 touchdowns last week, and he still only finished as the wide receiver 21. All right. And Jamar Chase was wide receiver 47. All right. Week 1, Zay Flowers finished as wide receiver 35, which was all right. That's startable. But that's what you're looking at for Drake London this week. Wide receiver 3 range.
All right. Mike out on Drake London this week. Jamie wants to know, would you start Kyle Pitts over Laporta this week?
He did say never mind. He's starting both because he's sitting Brian Thomas and Deontay Johnson, but still want to hear your answer, Ike.
What?
Pitts over Laporta?
That's tough, but I'm still going Laporta. I think he's still the more elite targeted tight end, I would assume.
Yeah, he just hasn't seen much volume this year, man. Only like 8% of 8% of routes ran has he been the first target on it. So they're not drawing plays up for him. And Mike, you talked about Jameson Williams breaking out a little earlier. It's not at really the expense of Amon-Ra St. Brown, because we saw him bounce back last week. It's been at the expense of Sam Laporta, who's been just completely non-existent, man.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say non-existent, but
I would say non-existent.
Isn't he still scoring 7 or 8 points, which for a tight end is literally top?
I don't think
top of the board.
Laporta has a 9.5% target share right now through 2 weeks.
That's not great.
No, it's not great.
But I'm pretty sure it's better than Kelsey, at least.
Pitts is at 12.5, and he's got the better matchup. So I would actually start Pitts over Laporta this week.
That's so tough to do, but I get it.
I mean, I know you don't have to, Jamie, but that would be my answer. And then he also agrees on Drake London. McDuffie, 10 targets so far, allowing 50% catch rate, only 32 yards.
He said, never mind, he's starting both, sitting Brian Thomas and Deontay.
Where have you been?
Then why did we just talk about Pitts over and Laporta?
Because what if somebody does have to make that decision? Now they know.
They draft both of those goons.
Laporta had 8 points in the first game, 3 points in the last game. 8 total targets through 2 games. Yeah, it has.
Pitts has 7.
Didn't get much against Tampa. It's not like Winfield was in.
Nebraska just missed a field goal trying to take the lead. Ike still 24-24 in this Illinois-Nebraska game. Good Big Ten battle here.
All right, cool. Let's wrap this up. I gotta watch that.
We got 2 more games to go through. Monday Night Football. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Buffalo Bills. Jaguars +5 on the road here. Whoa. Game total of 45.5. LaPlante, we'll start with you. Who are you in on? Who are you sweet on in this Jaguars-Bills matchup?
I am sweet on Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman. I know it's been a population bummer town with Keon Coleman, but Jags are the 7th best matchup for wide receivers. One of those 8 teams I was talking about that allow 40+ points to fantasy points per game to wide receivers. So I think Shakir is a locked and loaded wide receiver 3. Keon Coleman, if you're desperate because of the injuries, I think you could slide him into the flex.
Interesting. All right.
Maybe not 10-teamers, but
but there's 12 teamers out there.
Like where
you said Keon Coleman, right?
Yeah, as a flex.
Yeah.
Dude, there's 10 teamers out there. There's 10 teamers out there that'll play with 2.
Quentin or him?
Quentin Johnson or Keon Coleman? I do Quentin.
Okay. Yeah.
My question is, why are you taking Keon Coleman over his teammate like Khalil Shakir here?
No, I said I'd take both of them. Like there's, I'd take Shakir over Coleman if it was between those two. But I'm saying if you're desperate, Coleman, you can slide into a flex position.
All right. Even after him just doing all that cardio last week, huh?
He's still seeing the targets, though. The first week he saw targets. It was just last week they didn't run the ball. I mean, they didn't throw the ball.
Yeah. Ike, what are you thinking here?
I was also in Khalil Shakir. Back-to-back wide receiver 3 finishes on limited targets. I like it. He should keep it rolling against the Jaguars, who are just piss poor.
They're a mess. Trevor Lawrence said it best. They're ass.
Yep.
But who are you out on this week, Mike, in this matchup?
You're not going to like this one. It's easy. Dalton Kincaid. 0 tight end 1 finishes. Jaguars have only allowed 3 catches to tight ends this year. 2.7 fantasy points per game in 2 games. So not looking great for Kincaid. He doesn't seem to be part of the offense right now because they like to be running the ball just down people's throats, which, hey, it's how you win games, man. Keep offenses off the field and just dominate the clock.
Agreed. Are we worried about Josh Allen at all with them just running the ball?
Big time.
Big time.
Okay.
I could see that. Mike, who's your sour play?
It's ETN. It's just, man, I can't trust that O-line. I mean, he's going to get the volume. He'll volume his way probably to it, at like a borderline RB2, in that 20 to 24 range. But, man, with that
Plus,
O-line
Bigsby's getting some work.
Yeah, I mean, the snaps are dominated by ETN, but at the same time, if he's, continuing to fumble and his efficiency is as bad as it is, he's averaging 3.8 yards per carry when Tank is at 6.1. They're going to get Tank involved more. So I'm just down on ETN.
And they've constantly said ETN needs to touch the ball less, so.
That's definitely been the case. Daniel Jones has more fantasy points than Trevor Lawrence this year.
That's because he can run.
That's outstanding.
Trevor Lawrence is running for his life.
Brutal right now.
Yeah, he's running for his life. That's what he's doing.
Yep. Just as bad as the Bears O-line. So
yep.
Look, last game of the week, we got the Washington Commanders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Commanders are getting 7.5 points on the road, 47.5 game total. Vegas thinks this is going to be a decently high scoring game. Ike, we'll start with you. Who is your sweet play in this matchup between the Commanders Bengals?
Burrow has every chance of being a top 3 quarterback. I can even say number 1 if I want to, but that's pretty ballsy. Commanders.
Go ballsy. Say number 1.
Number 1, fine. Commanders always seem to struggle against the pass. It just seems to be the thing for the past 3, 4, or 5, whatever years. Burrow's going to have Higgins back, but don't start Higgins because he might be on a pitch count, but with Higgins back, Jamar Chase will do a lot better. The stats show it. So hopefully he finally breaks out too. Gesicki, they finally got a good tight end that can make plays. Zach Moss is borderline RB2. I like the Bengals offense pretty much.
Absolutely. Higgins being back may take away some targets from everybody else, but it just makes the offense so much better as a whole. So I agree there. Love Joe Burrow this week. He's got to be the most highest owned player in DFS this week at the quarterback.
Which means don't go Joe Burrow in DFS.
Mike, where are you going here as your sweet play?
Smashing Chase. I know Chase has been slow out the gates, but Chase is going to go ham. Like we said, the Commanders are one of 2 teams that are allowing 50-plus fantasy points to wide receivers. They're the number 1 matchup. Mm-hmm. So Chase is going to get on the right track this week. And it's smash play for him. I'm skeptical on T. Higgins, but let's just see him play first.
Stick man ain't gonna be able to cover him.
I think he's on IR anyways.
That's the only guy they got of importance, so I don't know.
Higgins is intriguing, but if you have the ability to sit him, it'd be ideal. Would you rather play T. Higgins or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson, only because I'm about to say this. Every time T. Higgins is like questionable or something before a game or coming off an injury, he's literally used as a decoy and doesn't do anything. So I would wait a week at least for sure.
He's had 2 weeks to recover. I think he's, healthy. But it's just I want to see it too first. But if you're going to give me the option between Deontay Johnson and T. Higgins, it's T. Higgins.
I don't know about that. Deontay Johnson at least might have Andy Dalton throwing 50 times for no apparent reason.
I'd still take Joe Burrow.
Like he did last year in week 3 where
take Joe Burrow.
12 targets.
I will take Joe Burrow over Andy Dalton all day, every day.
Obviously, but still. Come on. T. Higgins is going to be on a pitch count.
Mike, who you sour on?
Jane Daniels. I'm struggling here. Cincinnati Bengals are the 6th best matchup for QBs. They also are tough on the wide receivers, only allowing 20 per game, which is 7th best. So I'm skeptical of Jane Daniels now. I'm starting him in some leagues just because I have no choice. But you get the rushing floor, at least he can do that. But I don't expect much passing here.
He just feels like running.
I just want to run. I'm going to piggyback off that. Sit Terry McLaurin.
I mean, I did hear a report that, Cliff Kingsbury said he wants to get McLaurin more involved, but man, we got to see it.
Cool. Jane Daniels can't throw just like A-Rich, so.
Real quick, Terry McLaurin or Jalen Waddle?
Jalen Waddle.
It's disgusting, I know.
I don't. Terry McLaurin is just not it for me right now. And we are so high on him to start too, which sucks.
He doesn't move around the field either. Doesn't move around the formation. It's It's that's a really tough one. I don't really care for you asking that question.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. How about
I'm gonna
Michael
ask
Pittman or him?
Pittman or who?
Terry
McLaurin?
McLaurin.
Oh, man,
Oh,
I think
man. McLaurin, I guess.
I'd go McLaurin with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't love it.
Just
but I
gotta
think-
hope for something.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man.
We got any final thoughts, guys, or can I go ahead and wrap this up?
We can wrap it up.
Okay,
All right,
okay, wrap it up.
We appreciate everyone listening. It was a fun show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe on your way out if you're not already. Then check us out on the Sunday Social on Sunday morning at 10:30 Eastern time. We'll have Alan Sandage there for his best bets. We'll have Joe Bond there to talk rankings. Then JJ Schultz comes and joins myself and Michael Plant here to do an hour of start sit questions. And then the last hour of the show, we got Chris Robin and Keith Fleming coming on to talk DFS to make you guys a little bit of money. And I've played both of their plays the first 2 weeks, and I've cashed in each week. So I'm definitely very happy with that so far. So make sure to check out the Sunday Social. We'll be back. We'll be back next week around the same time. But until then, we'll talk at you next time. And the candy shop is closed. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Oh my God. Yeah. Let me show you